What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel once again. So guys, after Donald Trump arrest Venezuela's President Maduro, he is now targeting the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Holness. So guys, in today's video, it's about Bruce Golding telling us how really this US government is planning to arrest most of the Caribbean countries, most of the Jamaica. So guys, let's all watch this video until the end, then I'll come back with more comment. I'm your host, Team Test Reaction. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and all full credits goes to the original creators of this video.
No head of government is safe. The response from former Prime Minister Bruce Golding in relation to tension between Venezuela and the United States. Mr. Golding weighed in on the region's response on Radio Jamaicans Beyond the Headlines moments ago.
The ongoing standoff between Venezuela and the United States intensified last weekend, and since then, the region has been on edge. The dispute has once again placed the Caribbean in a delicate position, given its geographic proximity, economic ties, and long-standing diplomatic relationships with both countries. Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding says the moment calls for a unified CARICOM response.
It would have been better if they were able to take a united position, muted though that might have to be, recognizing that they are confronted with terrible forces. The fact that Trinidad has separated itself is not a good thing. And I hope that that is an issue that will be resolved in due course.
Growing also addressed growing public debate and concerns from the public that Prime Minister Dr. Holness's response to the ongoing situation has been weak.
Trump operates with no boundaries. There's nothing that he feels is beyond the pale. And he will do whatever he thinks is necessary to further U.S. interests. So when Prime Minister Holness spoke yesterday, he was very careful, he was very measured. He understood that his primary responsibility is to ensure the protection of the Jamaican people.
Mr. Golding went further, arguing that no leader is safe.
No head of government in CARICOM is safe. Holness could miss that in the middle of the night. And they would then...
I'm so sorry, you broke up a little. Holness what?
He could be snatched in the middle of the night.
Oh, you mean like Maduro?
And they would find some charges to impose. So that what the Prime Minister said yesterday is the appropriate position of the Jamaican government.
As regional leaders continue consultations, questions remain about how things will unfold in the days ahead. Concerns, too, about how Jamaica will position itself amidst rising international pressure. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding says the United States' action towards Venezuela amount to recolonization. He argues that American voters must reject Trumpism at the polls, cautioning against electing leaders like J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio in 2028.
Prime Minister Holness yesterday laid out Jamaica's position, and he was very careful in how he phrased his comments.
If persons who comment on these issues would only do a very cursory research into the matter, they would see the positions that Jamaica has taken and continue to take.
If I were in his position, I perhaps would have made that same statement without any amendment, because he has almost 3 million people that he has to protect. As I said in the article, if Jamaica were to take a position that Trump finds offensive, all Trump needs to do is to say, well, look, all airline tickets to Jamaica will now attract a $250 tax. You don't have to ponder what the impact that would be on our tourism sector and our tourism arrivals. So that's the reality. And I'm in a position, as a former head of government, I'm in a position where I can say what I have said. The Prime Minister can't say that. No Prime Minister in CARICOM can say that. Because the retribution that would have been unleashed on them would have been instantaneous. What I have said in the article and what I have said today to you, I could not have said if I were still Prime Minister of Jamaica. Because the consequences and the risk to the people of Jamaica would be too severe. He is the Prime Minister. I am a former Prime Minister. I have no control over the government. I can't speak for the government. I have no influence over the government. But as a former Prime Minister of Jamaica, I believe that I have a responsibility. Freed of the weight of that responsibility, I believe I have a duty to say, hey, dangerous things are happening, and we must be conscious of the risk ahead and what needs to be done.
After the interview was aired on CVM TV, they posted another article with the title, Bruce Golding Braces for U.S. Visa Fallout After Trump Criticism. Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding says he's bracing for the possible revocation of his U.S. visa after publicly condemning U.S. President Donald Trump over escalating tensions between Washington and Venezuela. In a special interview with CVM News on Thursday, Mr. Golding said silence was not an option, even if speaking out comes at a personal cost. He argues that the stakes of the conflict are too high, not just for Venezuela, but for the wider Caribbean.
No leader feels free to speak out because Trump's ability to apply punishment, whether through tariffs, through access restrictions, has left every country in shivers. And I'm in a position, as a former head of government, I'm in a position where I can say what I have said. The Prime Minister can't say that. No Prime Minister in CARICOM can say that. Because the retribution that would have been unleashed on them would have been instantaneous. The only retribution that can be unleashed on me is to revoke my U.S. visa. And if that is the case, well, so be it. Yeah. But I believe that there are some things that have to be said, and they have to be said by persons who are in a position where they can say that. I am in that position. CARICOM Prime Ministers are not. Well, the PNP is not in government, and therefore they are not subject to the constraints that I think face all CARICOM countries. But the PNP is also mindful of the risks of offending the United States. So it's one thing to tease the government and to pressure the government, but I believe that the opposition understands that if they were in power, they could not take a different position because the consequences would be too severe. My own assessment of him is that this is a crazy fellow.
Former Prime Minister Bruce Golding, who didn't mince words in describing U.S. President Donald Trump.
I think that the world is facing the most perilous challenge since the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. CARICOM leaders cannot do any more than they have done. They have taken note. They have expressed some concern, but they dare not go beyond that. My disappointment is that if they have to cower in fear, at least do so together. But I'm disappointed that countries like Germany and Italy and Spain and France seem to be as frightened, as CARICOM leaders are. We're not far away from the situation that existed in the 1930s when Adolf Hitler intimidated the world and made countries fearful of standing up to him.
Are you comparing Mr. Trump to Hitler?
In terms of their ambitions, yes. Both Hitler and Trump desired to exert control over the entire world. It's a different situation today, and hopefully after 2029, getting rid of Hitler required a war in which 80 million people were killed. Getting rid of Trump may not be that expensive.
Now, let's talk about this. When there is a natural disaster, right, based on what I've seen and heard so far, Jamaica is there for Venezuela and Venezuela is there for Jamaica. A natural disaster, right? However, this situation, according to Mr. Andrew Holness, he's basically saying that situation is his job to protect the country, which is true, and his people, which is true. So getting involved in certain political issues might be just too bigger for small Jamaica. You know, it's too big. I don't think he's wrong for saying that. And I don't think that's Jamaica abandoning that particular country. I think that's Jamaica saying, or that's him saying, this water is too deep. We can't swim in this water right now. This water is bigger than little Jamaica. I think that's it. So in my opinion, I don't see anything wrong for him to say that. For the first time, I don't see anything wrong for him to say this water is uncharted territory. I don't think it is. However, he also said something else which is subject to interpretation. It's as if he's saying it's a possibility that if they're needed for Venezuela, he will be there. If they're not, you know, it's up in the air, subject to somebody else's interpretation. But have a listen to what he's saying and drop your opinion on the matter.
Not to venture too far off the purpose of my presentation, but simply to say that every day I pray for the nation. We are living in changing times, uncertain times, uncharted waters in many instances. And my job as the steward of your affairs and the servant of your wishes is to keep Jamaica safe.
The message I to you and Andrew Holness, you know. I want to meds the message when I send out to him, because you see, all the way I do, you see stories soon come to bump, as my granny would have said. Now, I just see one video where Dion Jackson Miller interview former Prime Minister Bruce Golding. Bruce Golding talk about where we are going with Venezuela, America, and Trump and the world rest. And he must say, Andrew Holness, be careful, say him not get captured next. And me made it and me say, you know, say, in truth and in fact, though, to blood clot. Andrew Holness, you know, say, you make things look bad for you, you know, though, my boy. You know, say, if you reach a one case, though, where America send for you, or they want to capture you, or nothing like when they do Venezuela boss, you know, say, country can push you out, blood clot. Which civilian are going to come fight for you? A police, them are going to come, a police, them, where you send go get murder of you, them have you, no civilian fight for you.
Mr. Holness, sir, Mr. Bruce Golding says Donald Trump may sniff you in the night, sir. Mr. Golding, Mr. Bruce Golding, please can tell Donald Trump, don't come in the night because I go to my bed early. Come in the morning or in the day. Later, sir.
Not to venture too far off the purpose of my presentation, but simply to say that every day I pray for the nation. We are living in changing times, uncertain times, uncharted waters in many instances. And my job as the steward of your affairs and the servant of your wishes is to keep Jamaica safe.
Hello guys, welcome back. Do you agree with Bruce Golding that Donald Trump is targeting the Caribbean country, is targeting the Jamaica? So for those who are asking, is Bruce Holding is the former Jamaican PM. He has really come out and spread this news that after Venezuela's President Maduro arrest from the US, now the Trump is targeting the Caribbean countries. He's targeting the Jamaican Prime Minister because this arrest of Maduro is against the protection of the oil in Venezuela, because these Western countries, they don't want to see any progress in our country. That's why they are targeting now the the Prime Minister of Jamaica, because the only problem that Maduro was arrested because is to speak the reality, and you have seen how Venezuela has been really having the good terms with the Caribbean countries, because we see that this oil of the Venezuela has been really supplies across all over the Caribbean. They have been really depending from the oil from the Venezuela, and we have seen how the Carascom leaders, Miamotle and also the Kayan and whatever, coming out and condemning the arrest of Maduro, because Donald Trump, he wants to control the Venezuela, and he has started the war with Venezuela. And that's why we have also seen how Russia is sending their troops to come and protect the oil of the oil reserves of the Venezuela, because Trump is against that oil. He wants to take control of that oil. So this is the eyes that has been opened by the former Jamaican president Bruce Golding. Bruce Golding is coming out and telling us how these tricks will also coming and arrest some of the Caribbean leaders, and the most target is the Prime Minister of Jamaica, because Jamaica has the minerals. Jamaica has also the supply of the bauxite industry, has also such as a mineral in those areas. So he is targeting to take over all the minerals from all the black countries, and that's how he has managed to really taking over the Venezuela's oil. But not yet done, because we have also seen how the protesters, they have really coming out to demand for the release of the Maduro. And also we have also seen our leaders, our notable leaders, Ladrus Fargan, and also the world leaders, they have really coming out and say no, you must release the Nicolas Maduro from the arrest. He has no any charges, because the only charges that Donald Trump has planned to against Nicolas Maduro is about the drug trafficking. But that is not the reason. The main reason that this guy is targeting the Maduro is about the oil that is in Venezuela. So Bruce Golding, he has really come out and say no, you must now coming out as a prime minister to stand firm to protect the interest of the Jamaicans. We don't want you to be arrested as a puppet, because we have seen so many attempts like these Western countries wants to arrest some of the black countries. But I thank God how really these black countries that are now waking up, they want to protect their own brothers, and that's how we saw how they managed fasting. This is the arrest of the Maduro. I can compare this arrest as also as the Mohammed Gaddafi, because when Libya tried to protect the coal, those oil, because Mohammed Gaddafi, he came out and said to the Western countries that this Libyan oil must be remained for the beneficiary of the people of the Libyans. And also he said that he is the one who was going to look for the market. These Western countries, they come out and say, no, you have been, the Mohammed Gaddafi is using oil for his benefit, and that's why they went out and attacking him and assassinate the Mohammed Gaddafi. And also we saw how this really also during the Ibrahim Traore time, they came out and also with the same language say that Ibrahim Traore is using the gold reserve to protect his family and from power. And majority of the African, majority of the world black countries, they really come out and say, no, enough is enough. They came out and really protect Ibrahim Traore from assassination from these Western countries. And now all attempts failed. They didn't manage to assassinate Ibrahim Traore from Burkina Faso, and we have seen how really Burkina Faso is really developing because of the Ibrahim Traore using the gold to benefit the people of Burkina Faso. And now they also have coming out and planted their lies against the Venezuela's president, and now they have managed to arrest that president. But this is not, we have also seen the black people, they will not really assassinate Venezuela's president, because you have seen the world leaders, they have really coming out and defend the Venezuela's president from arrest. And that is the unity that has been waiting for so many years. And this time round, they are now targeting the Caribbean country. We have seen this from far. Bruce Golding is telling us the reality that they are targeting the CARICOM countries, and she's telling us those CARICOM to wake up, to stand out, and also defend their countries, because when we will like and listening, this president can come out and arrest the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Let's interact more in the comment section. How do you really feel this phone from the Bruce Golding telling us that Donald Trump is planning to arrest the Prime Minister of Jamaica and also the Caribbean leaders? Thank you so much for watching me. I'm your host, Team Tese Reaction. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, like, and also comment. Let's send this video for the viral. Bye for now. See you in the next one.